Hey, you're watching HuffPost Live. I'm Mark Lamont Hill. Foreign interpreters are critical to the safety of U.S. military service members in Afghanistan. But as troops disappear, so does their protection. Because they helped fight against the Taliban alongside the Americans, they are also a target, and their lives are most certainly in danger. They also have to find a way out. But the system in place to get interpreters to America safely is crippled by bureaucracy. Joining us now to discuss the fight to get interpreters out of Afghanistan is Katie Reisner. She is a national policy director at Iraqi Refugee Assistance Project. Matt Zeller joins us. He's an Afghanistan veteran. He's also a fellow at the Truman Project. And joining us via phone from Kabul is Janice Shinwari. He is an Afghan interpreter who acted as Matt's interpreter during his service there. Matt, I want to start with you. For those who don't know, help us understand exactly what interpreters do for service members.
Thanks for having me on. This is such an honor. They save our lives. There's no other way to put it. They save our lives. They provide everything from translation services in real time to a cultural gateway to better understand the Afghan people to, in my case, Janice literally in a firefight with me, shooting dead a bad guy who was going to kill me. Janice had my six and literally saved my life. They can be your best friend, your best advocate, your best liaison to the culture. They are literally mission essential personnel, and they're contributing more to this war effort than most American citizens.
Wow. Now, you mentioned him helping you in a firefight, literally firing his gun back. I know that's not on the job application for interpreters, but how often is it that interpreters in places like Afghanistan have to develop such a protective relationship with the people they're supposed to be helping?
Every day. Janice actually served with distinction since 2006. He actually served with one of my best friends, an Army officer named Ben Tupper. Ben wrote about in his book, Janice literally saving Ben's life in a firefight in 2006. 2 years later, Janice was doing the same thing with me. Afghan interpreters are called upon literally on a daily basis, not just to defend their own lives, but the lives of their American service personnel. Janice used to tell me that I was a guest in his country, and it was his job to protect me as a guest in his country and take care of me. We now owe it to someone like him to bring him home with us as we leave Afghanistan.
Absolutely. Janice, I want to bring you into the conversation. First of all, how did you get involved in this type of, this line of work? Okay, I think we're going to work on getting Janice aware from some audio issues here, but he'll be joining us via phone in just a minute. Katie, I mean, this is such an interesting thing. I've been following Iraq and Afghanistan for such a long time, and whenever we talk about troop withdrawal, I think about what's going to happen to the nation state afterward, but I never really thought about what would happen to the anti-Taliban forces, or the people who are considered American sympathizers. It's not like there's a reconciliation process.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's an unfortunate consequence of war, and we needed these people absolutely in order to conduct our missions in Iraq and Afghanistan. And now, 10 years out in Iraq, years out in Afghanistan, folks who served U.S. missions and, like as in Matt and Janice's case, like literally served side by side with U.S. service members, are now coming under threat, whether it's from Iraqi insurgents, the Taliban. And
they're going to have big targets on their backs. I mean, these are the people who helped American forces, people like Janice who fired back against Taliban forces and other, insurgent forces. They're the primary people who will be targeted when American troops leave, because there's no doubt the Taliban's coming back. Right.
So as Matt mentioned, these folks are really cultural liaisons. So in order to do their job, they have to compromise their identity. Otherwise, an elder in a village is not going to take them seriously. So Absolutely. They're well known throughout the regions in which they live. In many cases, they have to move their families multiple times in order to get them out of harm's way. Again, by the very nature of their work, they had to compromise their identity. So it's no secret who these folks are.
Absolutely. Matt, did Janice ever tell you how he got into this line of work? I mean, it seems like such a dangerous enterprise, right? To be siding with Americans in the midst of a Taliban-filled land, to be moving one's family, to be defending one's own life and the life of an American soldier who you may just have met. Did he ever give you an indication of why he would do this?
Yeah, he literally saved my life.
I love you, Matt, but I got Janice on the phone.
Oh, even better.
Janice, welcome.
Thank you. How are you guys?
Great, Janice. Help us understand. Matt just has been singing your praises and talking about just how integral you and people like you have been to this war effort and to saving and protecting the lives of soldiers like him and others. But how did you get involved in this? How did you decide to become an interpreter in this type of space?
This was my desire that I have to serve for my country, for my people, and the only way that I could serve to my people was to join interpretation and work as an interpreter to support my country. I've been working as an interpreter since April 2006 to the present time, and I spend most of my time in downrange in different provinces of Afghanistan, such as Gardez, Paktika, and Ghazni, which while I was in Ghazni, I faced a lot of gunfights I was interpreter with the American, as Matt Zeller said, that both came a lot in the gunfight, and we shot back at the enemies, and we were supporting each other, but our whole team, and we were fighting back against the Taliban. And in 2009, I transferred from Ghazni to Kabul because my name was added in the Taliban kill list. That's why I transferred.
Just for clarity's sake, you said your name was added to the Taliban's kill list.
Right.
And it remains there, I would imagine.
Because when I was in downrange, I was involved in the detaining of over 200 Taliban, and themselves and their family, all village people, they saw us and they know us. When we went to detain these Taliban, I didn't cover my face. And then in 2008, I was assigned with Matt Zeller, and he was the base intelligence officer. Me and him did a lot of investigations with the Taliban. We were asking a lot of questions from the Taliban. Also, in that time, I didn't cover my face. That's why they know me by name and by description now.
Why didn't you cover your face?
Because I didn't care about them and I didn't scare from them, and that's why I didn't cover my face.
So you wanted to show them that you weren't afraid of them and you didn't worry about the threat of the Taliban. You kept your face uncovered. When you got into this line of work, though, did you know that these would be things you'd even have to consider? Did you know how dangerous this line of work was, or did you think you were just going to be translating?
Yeah, I know that this is a dangerous job, and as I said before, I knew it that this is a dangerous job. But because of my people, my country, I had to join this job. And in the other side, I could support the American mission in Afghanistan.
So you believed in the American mission in Afghanistan. You thought that
Right.
America was on the correct side of this issue.
Right.
Okay. Katie, this is what's stunning to me. If Janice is risking his life, he's on the Taliban kill list. He's been applying for a visa for years and hasn't gotten it. Why isn't there some automatic process for people like him to come here? He has been as integral to the war effort as American soldiers, and as Matt said, more than most American citizens. Why is this so difficult for him to get here?
So the visa program to assist Afghan allies of the U.S. mission in Afghanistan was created in 2009. And since then, it's faced just immense bureaucratic red tape. So Janice is unfortunately not unique. There are thousands like him who haven't even made any headway through the process.
When you say bureaucracy, because that can mean a lot of different things. Sure. What's going on? Is this partisan stuff, or is this, what exactly is causing the bureaucratic stumbling block?
Sure. Well, what's fascinating about this issue is that it's bicameral, bipartisan support. It's a huge community of folks who are really invested in this issue.
Right. I'm like, nobody's against this. This is like kissing a baby. I mean, everybody is for this, right?
Well, it's and yet it's difficult to make things happen. The program really didn't get off the ground once the legislation that created it was passed. And now it's all kind of held up at the agencies that administer the program.
And what agencies are those? I'm very irritated by this, and I really want to name names. Okay. I want to know what departments we're talking about.
Sure.
Where is this being held up?
Sure. The two primary agencies that administer the program are the Departments of State and the Department of Homeland Security.
Really?
And then the folks at Embassy Kabul are responsible for administering the initial stage of the application. It's called the Chief of Mission Approval Stage. And that was where the backlog had been occurring in chief. And now a lot of folks are in Janice's position waiting for what's called administrative processing or the security clearance process.
Because the concern might be that people from Afghanistan, despite their ally ship to the United States abroad, could still pose a security threat to the United States
Well,
homeland?
I mean, there are security checks run on every non-U.S. citizen who comes in on a visa status. So, no one argues that security checks shouldn't be run, but there are many stages to this process, and they are not coordinated. What could be happening is that they could be getting run concurrently, such that
Right. We've managed to do a lot of things a lot faster, Matt. I got to tell you, man, I'm very frustrated with this. He didn't have to fill out an application to pick up a gun and shoot against the Taliban, yet it's taking him 2 years to be able to protect and defend his own family.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. As Katie was alluding to, basically the backlog is caused by the fact that, let's say, the FBI, the CIA, and the Department of Homeland Security all have to give Janice their blessing to come to the United States. And let's say, hypothetically, it takes the FBI 6 months, but it takes the Department of Homeland Security a year. That FBI clearance is only good for such a certain period of time. So if it's only good for, let's say, 3 months after they issue it, and it takes DHS a year from when they started, Janice then gets DHS approval, but now he's going to go back and get the FBI's approval all over again. So as Katie's trying to allude to, there's no one really hammering this program home and trying to run to its maximum efficiency. And yeah, this is a thing that is as easy as kissing a baby, but no American votes based on this issue, so no one's holding Congress and the president to task for actually effectively implementing it.
Absolutely. We have comments coming in from the HuffPost Live community. W.T. Effington writes in and says, with all the green on blue attacks, I'd be leery about admitting all interpreters. Just to be clear, W.T. Effington, I don't think the argument is that all interpreters should be brought in, but at least the security process and the bureaucratic process should be expedited so the people who are going to come in don't have to wait 2 years as they lay on the Taliban kill list. Another comment coming in from Nihilist Deity says, I've read about soldiers bringing dogs back from Iraq and Afghanistan, but an interpreter can't even get a visa. Boring File Clerk says, these men are brave. We need to grant them citizenship and give them a home here in America. And the Red Queen in New York City says, why should this be a controversy to bring translators and other aides to the military to America? In the aftermath of Vietnam, such servants were not only brought to America, but granted sums for their support, which helped enable many to start their own firms in the States. I'm sorry, Kate, I cut you off. You were going to say.
No, I just wanted to mention that the other pressing issue right now is a legislative matter, is that both programs are going to expire real soon. So
absolutely.
They're
timed with the withdrawal, right?
Well, not sort of. The Iraqi SIV program is set to expire at the end of this fiscal year, so September 30th of 2013.
Okay.
The only way to save that program and continue issuing visas to folks who are waiting in the pipeline, and as of May of 2013, the Office of the Inspector General noted that there were 2,000 Iraqis waiting in administrative processing like Janice alone, over 2,000 folks in that stage alone.
Wow.
So in order to keep this program running, to make up for the bureaucratic malfeasance, there needs to be some legislative action taken before September 30th of this year.
Do you anticipate any difficulty in getting the legislation through?
Well, again, tremendous bipartisan support. Senators, congresspeople, folks from both sides of the aisle are really just doing great work on the issue, but it's a question of being able to get it done in time. There's there are multiple legislative vehicles that are moving, one of which might be the continuing resolution that has to pass before the end of this fiscal year. And so advocates and champions inside Congress are hoping to see language there that extends the Iraqi SIV program and possibly also extends the Afghan SIV program.
That seems like a no-brainer to me. Janice, I want to give you the last word here. How do you feel when you think about the sacrifices and the sacrifices you've made and the danger that you underwent to defend American soldiers, only to find out that there is so much difficulty getting you into the United States safely? Are you angry? Are you frustrated? How do you feel?
Right now, I'm frustrated to get my visa as soon as possible that we leave Afghanistan, because the Afghanistan is not safe anymore for us, because we are getting many phone calls from Taliban, we are getting night letters, and each 9 night letters, they mention that me, including all interpreters, we are a traitor for Islam, we are against the Islam, and they say they don't call us interpreters, they don't call us even people, they call us American spies. All the interpreters, plus me, they call us American spies. And in each letter, they mention that if the American leave Afghanistan, then the first target will be the interpreters. And now we heard about the drawdown of U.S. Army from Afghanistan. If the drawdown happens in Afghanistan, I guarantee that all the interpreters will be killed by Taliban, because now I'm living in the interpreters' village, which is attached to the Camp Black Horse. That's a safe place for us that we are
Wait,
hiding.
all the interpreters are in one village, or most of the interpreters are in one village?
Yeah, in our interpreter village, where now I'm working as an interpreter manager in Camp Black Horse in Kabul.
I got you. There are multiple camps. The reason I asked, Janice, is because I'm worried that if you're saying that the Taliban, the moment you become an interpreter, they don't call you an interpreter, they call you a spy. You're essentially seen as an enemy to the state from the moment you become an interpreter, and you all are in camps and villages. It seems to me that you are so vulnerable in that place. I mean, are you scared?
Yeah, when I leave my base, I'm scared. Outside, when I'm inside the base with the American inside the interpreter's village, I feel very safe. Believe me, when I leave the gate, then I don't feel safe, and I'm thinking that I might get killed.
Wow. And once the American troops fully withdraw, there won't be those types of safe spaces anymore.
Right. That's what I'm concerning, and I'm afraid from. If the Americans leave, I'm thinking that what will happen to us, because the interpreter's village is our home. We are safe there. If the Americans leave, the drawdown happens, then what will happen to us? Then we are an easy target for the Taliban to find us.
Absolutely. Well, I hope that you'll find an easy and safe home here in the United States, and I hope that all interpreters who have risked their lives to create peace in Afghanistan and to protect American soldiers will also find a home here in the United States quickly and safely. Janice, I want to thank you so much for your service and your sacrifice, and also for spending some time with us today.
You're welcome. I thank you. I thank Matt Ziller, everybody, and I thank from HuffPost Live channel. Thank you.
Absolutely. Matt, thank you as well. Katie, good to see you. Stay with us here at HuffPost Live. We've got many more conversations coming up, courtesy of Cadillac.